Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Today we're going to be looking at the paintwork. Looks lovely in this shot. I bet it's all nice and shiny, isn't it? Under that nice artificial light you get a real nice gloss. It's almost a year ago, in fact just less than a year, that I machine polished this car, and I had all sorts of problems when I went to machine polishing it. Problems where I found defects on the bonnet, which I talked about on the main mother channel, the Forensics Detailing channel. If you're subscribed to the Unplugged channel and you're not aware, we have a bigger channel called Forensics Detailing, so be sure to subscribe to them and this channel. There's the plug, just in case some people don't know about the main channel, which dawned on me the other day. I was like, because I don't always talk about it. Anyway, the defects I found on the bonnet weren't correctable. They were tiny divots, not solvent pop. Some sort of contamination when the paint was laid down was my best bet. Was the overwhelming advice that I got from people that commented that are sprayers, and it's what my body shop said as well. So I had I contacted BMW customer services, and I have to say, it's a horrible problem, isn't it? It's one of those real niggly problems, and you wouldn't even notice this problem unless you're right up personal and close with the paint and examining it, which is like you do when you're machine polishing it. You get real close to it. So when I showed BMW, they didn't say this, but I think they're looking at it, they're probably thinking, this guy's a bloody nutter, there's nothing wrong with this. But they didn't actually say that. They said, yeah, okay, we can see the divots, but they sort of said that there's no way of them knowing that was put in there when it was sprayed out, and actually said it was unlikely and it was more likely to be chemical etching. But in the end, they did a really reasonable thing, and they just said, well, let's respray it because you want it resprayed, and we'll pay for half the cost. And I thought, you know what, that's fair, isn't it? It's just fair. And they've done a good job with the respray as well. It's never nice when you have to have your car resprayed, because OEM paint is lovely and respraying is a difficult thing to do well, and they've done it well. Now, that left me in a really awkward situation where I'd sort of polished most of the car, but I knew it was going off to the body shop to be sprayed, and I knew I was going to have to finish out the paint, leave it a month, let it harden off, and then give it a nice finishing polish, because that's what I wanted to do. So really, this car has been a bit polished in a bit of an unusual way. And I want to show you, but it was decent though, don't get me wrong, it was decent. But it just wasn't quite the full ticket, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do here, guys, I'm going to turn the lights off. So everything's going to go dark, and you probably can't see anything, can you? There we go. And I'm going to take a little hand torch, and we'll come away from the light over here, so it's quite dark, and you really get to see the paint properly in this kind of light. And it's kind of like a game of two halves, because this hard BMW paint, original OEM manufacturer's paint, is very good. I'm looking at this and thinking, well, you'd be mad to polish this again, John, because it's in really good condition. Now, things like, I can see some little fine swirls there. You probably can't pick them up on the camera, very fine. But generally, I'm showing you, and you've got a good focus on this here. When we find some swirls, you'll see them. Generally, you would not polish the car based on the condition of this particular wing, because it just looks good. Jesus, it's a bit bright. Now, this here, paintwork, let me just see what you're seeing. I'm just pressing the viewfinder. Now there's just some sort of little water spots and bits of microfiber. So it's not swelled up or anything like that. It's in good condition. But there's more little marks on it. Funnily enough, if I go to this bit there, yeah, some little marks there. You must be able to see those. I'm just trying to get the camera so you can see them. There you go. Some little scratches, fine scratches there. And there's some down here around the edges, look at that. So what's that been caused from? That's been caused from where, I've washed the car and I've buffed on it, or, I've wiped it with the wash mitt. Probably more likely buffing dry has caused that. In fact, if I come back with the camera, you get probably a little bit better view. The general state of the bumper is good. Again, it's funny that this flat section of the bumper here is good, but this on both sides, look at that, that's quite scratched up actually. That's from wash related. scratching. You see there? Those marks. Just bring the camera back, see if it... There, look. The good news is those type of swirls are very, very fine. So you don't need to go hacking into the paint with a too aggressive compound. Just a little finishing polish and a soft pad. Whiz over those will take out fine swirling. Now this is the original OEM paint again on the roof. And this OEM paint is in pretty good nick. The roof is in better condition. Just looking. Just gives me an idea of what I want to do. There's some little fine scratches there. Can you see those? Let's just have a look at this rear quarter panel. It's really good actually. It's in good nick. But what I will find, guys, I'll probably spend about 20 minutes now with the camera off, just working my way around the car. I'll find little patches, probably, of scratches that have happened for whatever reason. A common one is that you wash it and you miss a bit with the wash mitt, and you can leave a wet patch of dirt there, and when you go and dry the car, you can rub that dirt and cause a little patch of very fine scratches. One thing that's worth mentioning, look at this black stuff. That is swelled up to buggery. Nothing that you will do will stop that black stuff getting swelled up, which is interesting. What I will do is use a silica primer polish on that and fill it all, rather than just hack away at it. It's just an easy way, just a soft pad, silica primer polishes. Shall we have a look? Let's have a look at my pillars. In fact, let's go round to these ones, because these I know I mintified these pillars in a video about a year ago. Now let's have a look at them. It's interesting. They need a little bit of got a little bit of colour. Let me just wipe them down. You don't need to. You can see the swirls. They're not terrible, but interesting. This car's washed and put in this garage overnight, and it's really windy today, and I think in this garage, when it's windy, you get like dust falling on top of the car. So what I might need to do is just spray some O&R onto a clean cloth, just spritz a little bit on there and just gently wipe over the panel and collect up all the dust. Then it needs to be clayed anyway, and then polished. But those black pillars need polishing again, and I know once I was cleaning the car in the sunlight and I found a big patch of swirls somewhere on this car. Here, I thought, Jesus, there, down here somewhere. Yeah. You're going to think I'm mad because they don't look too bad, but there's some swirls. Yeah, there's some swirls there as well. But generally, oh, there's some swirls there. Just having a butcher's. There's a little scratch there, and that never came out from the first polish. Generally, some swirlies there, swirly dirlies. Can you see those? I don't even want to look at that black acrylic. Now, here's the good news. Why? This is an example of why it's not that important of how you wash your car. So I haven't been 2-bucket washing this method, washing this car. I haven't been air drying the car, which some of you do. I haven't been pat drying with the towels. You know, I wipe the towel over the surface of the bonnet, which is bound to actually cause scratches at some level. But after 1 year of my, my wash technique, I would say that the paintwork has probably accumulated a few fine swirls that I've tried to show you, and the black acrylic parts have accumulated a lot of fine swirls. But here's why it does not matter. Here's why. It's one of those classic YouTube titles, isn't it? Here's why it doesn't matter, because before I can go ahead and polish this car, I have to clay the contamination off it and get this paintwork feeling really smooth. Now I'm just feeling that section of paintwork there after this car's been cleaned, and it's a little, I can feel some slight knobbliness to it. Okay, I can feel it there as well. Jesus, and I bet it's even worse. Yeah, it is even worse down here. Slight roughness to that paint down here, right in line with where the brake discs are. Now I have to clay this car to pull all of those stuck on knobbly bits of contamination that you can feel with your fingers till I get a silky smooth paintwork, and then it's ready to be polished. The act of claying that car, even if you do it very carefully, and I like to because I don't want to tear the clear coat up in claying it, especially on a nice car like this. I want to do it reasonably carefully, but the act of claying the car will cover it in micro scratches no matter what you do. I talked about this before, and some guys reply back and say, when I clay the car, I don't put any scratches in the car. And I reply back to them respectfully that that is BS. It is impossible to clay a contaminated car, or even an uncontaminated one, and not scratch it when you are claying. What you are doing is you are claying it outside without the proper light, and it looks great and feels great after you've clayed it. But you get the right light on it, even if you clay well with fine clay, with light pressure, with lots of lube, and you chemically decontaminate first, when you get the light on the car after claying it, you'll have fine scratches, and you'll see, because of the direction you've clayed in, you'll know you've put them in there from claying. That is why it doesn't matter too much about your wash technique, because no matter how I've washed this car, I cannot get the contamination off of it. If I'd have been doing 10 bucket wash methods with 14 pre-washes, changing my mitt every single time and blow drying it with air, I'd still face this problem now that I've got to get the contamination off the car. That contamination dulls the paintwork as well and stops the gloss coming through. I'm going to put more scratches in removing it with clay, so it doesn't matter, basically. This is the bottom line. That's why you don't need to get too hung up about your wash technique. I've said many times on the video, people's understanding of detailing when they first discover it is warped, because you see all these things going on and you're very susceptible to kind of believing it all when you start. But you know, the biggest misconception is that it's the products. So protection products, like the wax you choose to use, the sealant you choose to use, that makes the difference. But really, I always break detailing down like this. Washing, you've heard this before, haven't you? Decontamination, decontamination. Polishing, you know, machine polishing, really. Polishing, Jesus. I'd go back to school if it was open. Break detailing in your head down to these 4 categories: washing, decontamination, polishing, and protecting. When you first discover all this detailing stuff, you tend to think that this is the most important thing, and if you watch Forensics Detailing, you'll get a tip on a car protection product that will transform the look of your car 10 times better than it was before, using your JML wax. You know, and you're using the Forensics recommended wax, it's going to be 10 times better. Doesn't work like that. This is the least important thing. Then followed by polishing. Polishing is very important, don't get me wrong. Then followed by decontamination and washing. And that's the least important thing as into how your car looks. So quite simply, the thing that makes your car look awful is dirt. So when it's dirty, that just kills all of the gloss. It looks crap. You can actually see the different coloured dirt, you know, bits of brown on it, and, you know, grime and stuff like that. That's the number one thing. So keeping your car clean regularly, the guy who washes his car the most often will have the cleanest looking car. Fact. Unless you're mothballing it, okay? That doesn't count. The next thing is, when decontamination builds up on the panel of a car, that also kills the gloss. It kills the silky feel of the paint, kills the gloss. Because, you know, it's solid matter that's stuck to the car, and the light's got to travel through that to reflect off the shiny clear coat. So it kills the look, the next most thing. So making sure there is no contamination in your paintwork is the second most important thing to having good paint. You know, having a good looking car, sorry. After that, polishing the car to make sure you've got rid of all the swirls and you gloss it up is the next most important thing. And of course, it's massively important. And anyone that's polished a knackered, dull car and brought back the gloss, you know, it's a lovely feeling, isn't it? It's a lovely feeling. But the dirt and the decontamination is more important. So you could wash the car, decontaminate it and clay it. Wash the car, clay it, cover it in a wax, and it will look better than if you polish the car to a high gloss and then could put the dirt back on it and the contamination back on it that you've taken off. It would look awful again. Now, get on with it, John. And then finally, these products, like I've said many times, when you have a clean, decontamination, polished car, protection products, more often than not, are not going to play a significant role in adding gloss. Okay? That is something that's been around for a long, long time, and I've proved it to you on the channel millions of times by showing you. Okay, so it diminishes the amount of gloss that you can put on the panel, diminishes the higher the gloss goes. So if you really polish this to up to a sort of 90 units of gloss and beyond, you know, don't worry about the protection products. They're there to create a little barrier between the environment and your car. They're there so that when you go and dry the car, the panel doesn't hold the water, so you've not got sticky water all over the car and you're having to buff harder. You know, you can just do a nice gentle buff. It is there to, you know, it's there to make, well, you know what it is. It just makes the car a bit easier to maintain, but it doesn't really improve the look. And if you put fresh protection down, a day after you've put that protection down, you won't even know, really, will you? Oh, that's not quite true, actually, but I'm starting to ramble. I've made the point. So there is some really, really useful detailing information, guys. That it's not all about the glamour and the products. The products are there. You should get some enjoyment out of the products, but it's more about your endeavour and how often you are prepared to clean it. The older I get, the less on the ball I am with this. I just like to, I'm happy as long as the car doesn't have any junk inside it, you know, any sort of McDonald's wrappers and stuff like that. I just keep it empty, and you know, I'm reasonably happy. Once a year I'll do a good clean on it. Said in another video, really impressed with ceramic coatings. I don't use them on paintwork so much, but on plastic trim, like on the scuttle and the wheel arches, and on alloys and brake calipers and stuff like that, that durability is just phenomenal. And when I prepped this wheel arch to clean it for the first time on a 2-year-old car, it was so dull, you know, with dirt, and I had to get in there after I blasted it all out, brushed it, and wipe it all down with microfiber. And as I'm wiping over it with the microfiber's picking up soot and black stuff, you know, and eventually scrubbing it with this microfiber and using all these different chemicals and stuff, eventually got the plastics really clean and shiny, you know, like they were kind of newish again. That's only 2-year plastic. Then coated them. 2 years later, take the wheel off the other day and just rub over them with the hog's hair brush, and after I turn the camera off I go and clean the rest of the arch out, and there was none of that kind of black soot build up in there where I needed to kind of go in and blast it out with a microfiber, or less, a lot less. It's very easy to clean, and it just made me think that ceramic coatings, they really, it can be a bit subtle, some of the benefits of them, but they are there. And it's really, you know, I hear so many people tell me that ceramic coatings don't do anything and they're rubbish and they lie. You know, it's all a lie, and it's the snake oil is the title I kind of use, that people say that word, snake oil. It's just not true. And I tend to, the more I dig into the people that say that, they don't tend to have any experience of using coatings and keeping an eye on them properly for a while, because there are benefits there, and it's quite simple. It's not rocket science. A wax, I can put a wax on a test panel and I can break it down with chemicals after about 20 to 25 hits. I can get it off that panel. A ceramic coating, I can't. I could sit there poking that sort of alkaline at it all day long and it would just keep going. And it makes sense. If you've ever let a ceramic coating set, you know what I mean? If you've ever let a coating set, where is it? Here it is, look at this. This is a coating. Yeah. Come here. Get out. Sorry, you're probably thinking, what's he talking about? That's just ceramic coating that's been put into a little thing and set. You can smack it with a hammer. So the materials used are going to last longer than a paste wax. So it's not snake oil, guys. So don't be the person that says that, because it's not true. So there we go. Very informal waffle video from me today. I'm going to be playing around with my car. I've got absolutely nothing to do. I'm bored with this lockdown thing. Hopefully it's going to be coming to an end soon. It's going to be coming to an end. I've been joking with Reg and some of the other guys because they're just announcing that maybe the lockdown stuff will ease on Wednesday and you'll be allowed to drive somewhere to do your fitness. So every single petrol head is like going to drive to Goodwood Racetrack, do one press up and then sit there sunbathing for the whole day and then do a long drive home. I'm joking because there's so much hysteria about people breaking the rules. People getting absolutely upset if they see someone lying down like in a park. It's like, whoa, look at this, look at that selfish bastard. That's because people are scared, and that fear factor is going to also disappear as time goes by. But for the time being, all joking aside, I'm sticking to the rules, and I will always stick to the rules. But yeah, I can't wait till we're allowed to go out somewhere whenever we like. That'd be nice. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about some of the key points of this video. Is it important how safely you wash your car, based on the fact that you've got to clay it once a year really to get that contamination build up under control? So the wash, I mean, don't go crazy with the wash, you know, and just like use the old Brillo pad or a brush and just blast it over. But you know, the whole 2 bucket things, you know, if you pre-wash properly, there's no dirt. When you pre-wash properly with like Built Hamber and you blast it off, you've got essentially got a really close to clean car there, to the point where having 2 buckets, you know, and dunking 1 bucket in doesn't make any difference to me. My rinse water is clear if I only use 1 bucket. And I've always said that if you've got 2 buckets and one of them's full up with brown dirt, you know, you know, it's pointless. You've lost the battle at that point, because you're pulling all that dirt off of the car, moving it around and dragging it into the wash mitt, and then taking it out into the bucket, and then you're going to be contaminating the wash mitt every time you put it into the rinse thing. You're not doing it properly, that if your rinse bucket is full up with brown water. And that upsets some people as well, but there you go. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.